Vincenzo's Gold Crypto Investing this April the 22nd, 2025 noontime daily cryptocurrency, the blockchain technology, the gold and the silver bullion update on this beautiful sunny mid-spring afternoon day just north of downtown Detroit inside the Vincenzo Mobile Compound in the great state of Michigan, J, with a current temperature of 52 degrees. And we've had a just as the temperature is starting to pump up in the mid-spring here in the Great Lakes region, the crypto prices have pumped up the Bitcoin 4%, the Ethereum 7.77%, the XLM 3%, the XRP 3%, AMP another 3% after a 13% day yesterday trying to wake up. If we go across the board, one of the big notable ones is whatever this MXC is, and this is why the value of becoming members of Jabroni Killers, the truth, trust, education, and information. One of my Jabroni Killer members asked about this coin, and I said, I don't know anything about this. And it looked like a new coin, at least according to this chart. And the price, when we looked at it, man, this thing literally just came out. And I said, I didn't know what was going on with this thing, but it was trading in between the high up here and the low. And we said the low is obviously the all-time low because it just came out. But then if it broke that, it's price discovery. And I don't know anything about this, but look at that volatility you just had um today. You had a 50% dump just now today. And whenever this MXC is, right? We're on the 22nd, and look at this dump. It just, the liquidity gave away 48.44% in the matter of about 5 or 6 minutes, right? So always be aware of some of these coins that come out because there's mostly shyster coins. The good coins with utility per se and value are few and far between. And that's why you need to be members of Jabroni Killers so you don't get fleece heisted and shysted. So you stay on top of what's actually going on. So you are well informed and can make an educated, cool, calm decision for yourself. And if we look at the Bitcoin price, you can see we've gotten above that $90,000. And this is a critical level that we've been watching for since 2 weeks ago on this coming up Friday when we had that pump advisory after we had this double bottom. You can see it in the wicks right down there at 74,000, but you can see it better in the hour time frame or 4 hour time frame. And then we were sitting down here at the end of last week and most of last week into the weekend, consolidating just below the 50-day moving average. And we were saying if it could break up, you would look for it to come up to that 90,000 potentially and then see what happens. And if we look at the volume, something that you have to pay attention to on this pump up, the volume's still trending down on this pump up, right? So what this leads me to believe is this is going to give up this pump at some point, just like that one did. That one did. I believe this one's going to do the same thing. And this is the critical time for it right now. Now, if we go into like say the 2 hour time frame, you can see it just nipping up above that critical $90,000 support. It's up to 91,000 and change. And this is where it's going to be if we even zoom into the hour time frame now. An even bigger test because it's going to do this. It's going to come down and retest this 90,000. And that's what it needs to hold and then breach and move up to the upside to confirm this as still a major support level, right? If it slips back below and it meanders and then starts to trade down with volume accelerating in, it's going to confirm it as a major upper resistance. And that's going to be a critical big thing if that happens. And this is going to work itself out over the next 24 to 72 hours, the same as XRP is trying to work itself out at its major support and resistance level. So that's the area that I'm watching out for the next uh 2 to 3 days, right, to see how this plays itself out. I still believe we're in this head and shoulders topping out reversal pattern. We expected a pump up as high as 90,000. It got up to 91,000. And now the next few days are going to be the critical time again to see if this is the pattern that we're in or something has structurally changed in the overall market in the crypto sphere, right? So that's what we're watching out for with the Bitcoin. If we look at the Ethereum, you can see the Ethereum has had a nice rally today. It's had one of the, for the larger cap coins, it's had one of the more impressive rallies today, up 7.5, almost 8%, but it's been down the most amongst the large cap coins, and it's racing towards now with a slight uptick in volume down there, you can see in the background, but nothing overly impressive. It's starting to steamroll towards that $1,812 major upper resistance level at the top part of this blue resistance and support box, right? And if you can get above that, like we've been talking about, and you can get on top of it, then you want to get on top of the 50-day moving average and hold it, and then try to work your way towards a fastly falling 100-day moving average, right? So this is a critical area with the Ethereum at that $1,812 to try to get above that to remain short-term bullish and maybe even medium-term bullish. As you can see, XLM has run up against the major resistance and support zone. It's an area that's been major support for most of this year. You can see it touched it down here in February, again in late February, again in March, and again in late March, early April for an extended period of time. And this is the first time it's really significantly slipped below it, almost hit that 18-cent target. On the wick, it got down to about 1 cent above the target line that we had in purple, followed by a big pump that we thought. And as it started making this pump last week down here, we said you could come up to this 25.5 cents. And that would be a critical zone because that's major resistance now that it could be if it doesn't get back on top of it and hold it and trade to the upside. Because if it comes back up to it like it's at now, and can't get above it and trade higher, and it confirms it once first rejection, now it's nipped it back above it. Say you get a second and third rejection, and then you start doing that, you're confirming it as major upper resistance and flipping it from major lower support, right? So it's a critical spot that we're at in the XLM, but we've been on top of the XLM for 3 to 4 months now. Ever since with the first mover advantage, we peaked on the 63 cents. We went short to medium term bearish and told you we would hit the 25 cents. We would hit the 18 cents, and we would eventually, we thought, maybe hit that 14 cents, right? We forecasted the bearish cross and the golden bearish cross. And I've had a Jabroni Killer member ask me what that means. All that means, a bearish cross is just when the moving averages flip. So when we were up here, I was forecasting a bearish cross, and the 50-day was right here in red. The 100-day was right there, well spread apart. And I was forecasting a bearish cross, which was when the 50, like it did right here, would get underneath the 100, right? That's a bearish cross. That's all that means. It's the moving averages moving on top of or below one another, right? And we called that there and made a beautiful call on that, right? And we said there'd be a better buying opportunity, and the price went down when nobody was calling for that. For the better part of 3 months, we had a 67.69% correction to the downside from wick to wick, and now we're at a critical 25.5 cents. The XRP is the same thing. We thought we were in this head and shoulders topping out reversal pattern. We identified this back in the purple circle with the first mover advantage, identified a neckline of 209 and a technical target of $1.29. Again, nobody thought we were going to dip into the $2, let alone the dollar. And from peak to wick that we just hit $1.61 a couple of about 10 days, 6 days ago, we were down 52.69%. Now we're up here on the major support and resistance level. We hit the 50-day moving average again, that's falling, and we can see we had a bearish cross there finally, where the 50 got below the 100-day moving average. Now we're trying to get supported on the neckline because it's been a major support level, and we're trying to hold it and not flip it to a major resistance level. You can see last week we got up there, traded sideways, got below it, and now the last 48 hours we've tried to make a couple little minor run up in the pumps, but the volume's not really overly impressive. It's coming up to two major overhead resistance levels, and this is where we're going to see, does it again get traded down and sideways and end up forcing it back down here by Wednesday or Thursday, and then we're playing the same game as we were playing back here at the end of last week into the weekend, right? So that's what we're going to be watching in the XRP for the next several days. The XDC's had a nice rally. And if you look at where the XDC is, it's at the 50-day moving average in the daily time frame, bounced off of near the range of the 200-day moving average in green there. And now your next resistance area is where you're at now. If you can get above that, your major resistance above where you're at now would be the 100-day moving average, right? So what could happen here is you could, A, you just get quickly rejected and roll over as quick as it just had that pump, or B, you get in between on top of the 50, and then between the 100 and the 50 you start to trade for maybe a day or two before it tries to build some momentum to the upside, or it just does something similar to what it did up here, just at a smaller scale at a lower price, right? And the XDC, so that's what we're going to be watching. The algos had a ferocious rally after it hit below the 20 cents, got down as low as the 14.5 cents. We thought there would be a pretty big rally in and around that area, but we thought it might go from the 10 cents higher. But we've had a ferocious rally now from the 14 cents up to the 20-cent level. And this is a major support and resistance level. And that's how all these coins are doing it, trying to not confirm and flip major support areas to resistances. And that's what this 20 cents is. Still don't want to buy you. That's what this 20 cents is in algo after you finally had a decisive dump below it for the first time here the last 6 or 7 days before we've had this nice rally back to the upside. Not really overly impressed with the volume, but it needs to hold on top of that and confirm it as still major support, or if it can't and it confirms it as major resistance, that'll lead to a pretty big fall very, very quickly. So this is a critical time in all these coins over the next 24 to 72 hours to see how this starts to play out. Like the channel, become members of Jabroni Killers, join the movement that we're building with you, the audience. Truth, trust, education, and information. Peace and love. The Rock Side Bro. J.